Welcome to the Building PA Podcast, the voice of the construction industry throughout Pennsylvania. Here are your co-hosts, Chris Martin and John O'Brien.
Hello, and welcome to the Building PA Podcast. I am co-host John O'Brien from the Keystone Contractors Association, located right here in good old central Pennsylvania.
Awesome.
Joined as always by fellow co-host Chris Martin, and it just dawned on me, I've never heard you do the intro. Hello. Let's hear Chris. Let's hear his radio voice. Let's hear you say welcome.
Welcome to the Building PA Podcast today. This is Chris Martin with Atlas Marketing, and I am on the left coast of Pennsylvania in Pittsburgh, coming to you from the Atlas Marketing offices. So, John, does that work?
You nailed it. I'm sold.
Yes, but you do it so well, so I don't want to get in the middle of that.
Okay, all right.
There we go.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. And I know we've been doing a lot of interviews here over the past couple of years, and we're getting up there in some downloads. We've got nearly 16,500 downloads. So we're moving along, and I thank our listeners for that. I thank our guests for that. So, John, we've been cranking them out, man. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I was a little scared, a little worried. We moved towards YouTube. So we're now on all the podcast outlets, Spotify, iHeart, Apple, you name it.
We're there.
And then recently we went to YouTube, and I'm like, who wants to see this? I mean, come on, look at me. Now, but
My wife even tells me I have a voice, I have a face for radio. So
yes,
she's kind of screwed it up. What are you going to do?
yeah. But today's episode is going to be awesome. Really cool.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
So over the years, we've done a lot concerning employee wellness and safety concerns and workforce issues, workforce challenges, making sure workers are safe, healthy, and happy. So with that, we're really excited. We're going to dip down into Virginia for this interview here. We have Edna Howard, President of Voices of Encouragement. Welcome to the show. Drum roll.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Welcome, Edna.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So tell us about Voices of Encouragement first, so our listeners know who we're talking with.
Oh, well, like you said, I am the president of Voices of Encouragement. It's a training and development company that provides consulting and coaching to empower the workforce. And what we do is we help businesses increase employee engagement and productivity through professional and personal development workshops. And our goal really is to help organizations develop their most valued assets, their people. Using our 3E model, we educate, empower, and equip the workforce. So that's pretty much what we're about.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I know there's a lot of training that goes into everything that you're talking about. I know we're going to talk about more.
Right.
It's always amazing how every time I'm involved in a training session or an exercise session or something like that. Just last week, I was at a roundtable on leadership, and
Yes.
the exercises that we went through, and it was really insightful and more, self-imposed than it was to the whole team. So on that note, I'm just going to ask this. What's your take on that, on being the trainer or someone who leads those meetings? What do you enjoy out of training sessions and those types of meetings?
I appreciate that question. For me, I enjoy watching the light bulb moment come on for leadership. When I'm in a leadership development course or teaching a technique or method, watching the leaders that are at the table or in the room have that light bulb moment of understanding. A lot of it is self-awareness and emotional intelligence. And so for me, being able to see that, and because I like to empower and encourage people, it's just kind of a natural thing. And when I see it, I have a lot of passion about that, to be able to help the leaders be better leaders so that they can retain great employees, folks that want to stay with the company, because now you've gone into an executive leadership program that makes you a better leader or a more compassionate leader. So yeah, all of that.
Nice. Good stuff. So we're the Building PA Podcast, as you know, and you're coming to us from Virginia. I'm not sure how many Virginia listeners we have. Hopefully this will bridge the gap and we'll get more here. But those familiar with the podcast know we do a lot when it comes to mental health topics and issues. So I just want to know, and the companies are doing a lot. Construction companies were hit hard by addiction issues, suicide issues. All the rates are just off the charts, and it's horrible. And KCA is trying to do its small part, and this podcast is trying to do its small part. But if a company comes to you and they want to improve mental health and wellness of its employees, what advice do you give them as far as starting out, and where should they go and what should they do?
If a company should come to me and want to improve the mental health
Yeah.
of their employees,
Yeah.
I think it's important if a company comes to me, we start to conduct the needs assessment first. That really would be implementing a wellness program and see what that would look like, because different challenges come with different people. And you got to see what the need is first, right? So conducting a survey and like a focus group that can really provide valuable insight into mental health concerns of the employees. That's the first. And then the next is really creating a supportive culture. I mean, companies can really create a supportive culture by encouraging an open communication, providing opportunities for employees and give feedback, and promoting a good work-life balance. And leaders and managers should always model healthy behaviors and encourage employees to prioritize their mental health. So that's part of it. And another part of this would be providing resources and support. You can't say that you're this company that's wanting to do these things, but then don't provide the resources and support. That employees would need the resources and support from the company, and allow them to go to counseling if they need it, mental health workshops, stress management, training, employee assistance programs are so important to have in place. If you don't have one, then I think it's good to start to think about what that could look like, what an employee assistance program looks like, and then also providing the resources through that. And then also, I would say promoting self-care is critical. You want to encourage your employees to prioritize their self-care by taking breaks. I mean, we work all day long. Some work in the construction industry have long hours. So maybe working long hours, you definitely want to be able to take the time to take a pause, take a knee, take a lunch. If you can't take a lunch, at least take 15 minutes to take a breath, and practice that, incorporate that into your day. A lot of times, and for me anyway, I do meditation, breath exercises that really helps you stay calm and centered. And then the last thing is, I want to say that we have to reduce the stigma about companies when they look at what that could look like and operating in a place where they want to be able to help their employees. They have to take the stigma around mental health, and the way to do that is really promoting awareness and education. And so that's where the educational piece comes in, to promote, talk about it, have the workshops, and be able to share. So overall, really improving the employees' mental health and wellness is going to require a multifaceted approach that prioritizes the culture, the support, and education.
Nailed it.
We're done. Thanks, Edna.
So I'm very passionate about it because, you can be in a work environment and you really need your employer to understand who you are and really meet people where they are. I think meeting people where they are is critical.
You said something there, Edna, that I think is something that a lot of people, especially in the construction industry, don't take to heart. That's all the self-care component. I'm going to come back and ask about the meet people where they are in a second, because I think that's another thing too. But
Yeah.
the aspect of just taking time for yourself, whether it is an hour at the end of the day, like you said, you meditate or do those types of things. I think that's one of the things that we've seen, not with our clients, but also with the work that we've done here in the podcast and talking to other mental health folks.
Right.
Just taking that time to have that inward reflection, I think, is important. I just wanted to mention that as just as a reminder, continually say those things over and over again. But so let me ask you this, Ed. What do you mean when you say meet people where they are? What does that mean?
Well, the saying meet people where they are, it's in the wellness journey. It means to acknowledge and accept people's current state of health and well-being without judgment. And you want to support them in a way that meets their individual needs. And so when you think about each person, each individual, everybody's different, right? Everybody has different needs. A working mom who might be in the construction industry, she might need something else. Someone who's coming from a military background might need something else. So you have to meet people where they are. And this recognizes that people are in different stages of their wellness journey, and that they need to really have priorities and they could vary based on their unique circumstances. And we're looking at unique circumstances as age, health, their history, their lifestyle, and their culture. So you got to look at everything and I say cast a wide net to look at everything to meet people where they are. So overall, that's what I mean by meeting people where they are.
Nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that too.
It helps you motivate them as well. Because once you understand their concerns, then you can motivate them and provide the tailored support that aligns with their goals and preferences. And this may also involve offering a range of interventions such as education, coaching, and counseling, and sometimes lifestyle changes. And that way you can collaborate as an employer, collaborate with your employees.
I would imagine lifestyle changes is probably like running straight uphill in a 90-degree angle sometimes, depending on who you're talking to, so I can
Right.
imagine that would be a challenge.
Right. When I say lifestyle changes, sometimes when you think about now, if you give me a typical day of what it looks like for a construction worker, right? They get up pretty early, they're hitting the ground running all day. They may not eat. They might get something on the way and eat in the car. They may work all day and not get a full break because they're committed to what they're doing. They work with excellence. So lifestyle change for them might be maybe slow it down a little bit and don't grab food and eat in the car. Maybe take a minute to eat at home and really get your day started off in the proper way. Because eating in the car, it can become a habit. I've done it myself. So I know it can become a habit. So our car becomes our university on wheels. It becomes our restaurant. It's everything.
Office, you name it.
Yeah,
It's
everything. We have to give
like that.
ourselves a minute and give ourselves some grace to take a break and say, you know what? You deserve 15 minutes to eat your food, right? Or 20 minutes, or whatever that time frame is.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
great point.
It is, absolutely. And I'm sold. I really like that. Meet people where they are. It's always presented different ways, but it ultimately means the same thing. Understand everyone's different. Everyone has other issues and meet them where they are.
Yeah. And people appreciate meeting them where
Yeah.
they are. Sometimes we want to change things around people, but you got to know the people that you want to change the things around, or you're changing the wrong things.
Yeah. As a company owner, they could meet them where they are, see what their issues are, challenges, strengths, opportunities, all that good stuff. And ultimately, it would help in the mental health arena, mental health issues, and increase productivity as well. So it seems to be a win-win. Get healthy, happy workers, and
Yeah.
company thrives.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little productivity here. Say a company comes to you and they want to talk about 3 things they could do today to increase employee productivity. What do
Oh,
you
that's a
think?
good one.
Yeah.
Well, I do have 3 things. I would say first, improve communication. Effective communication is essential for a productive workplace. I believe that wholeheartedly. Communicate, communicate, communicate. So companies can encourage open communication by setting their clear expectations, providing regular feedback, and creating opportunities for collaboration. That's so critical. And leaders and managers should also be accessible and approachable and provide support and guidance when needed. And number 2 is provide training and development opportunities. That's important. Investing in our employees, training and development can improve skills and knowledge and boost job satisfaction. It can increase motivation and engagement. Companies can offer training programs like workshops and mentorship opportunities to help employees develop new skills and advance in their careers. And then 3, prioritize work-life balance. That is so important.
Yep.
Burnout and stress can have a negative impact on productivity and overall well-being. Companies can promote work-life by providing or offering flexible work arrangements, promoting healthy behaviors, and encouraging employees to take breaks and recharge. And that is so critical. And again, the leaders and the managers can also model that healthy behavior and set realistic expectations around workloads and deadlines. And so again, overall, it would be communication, providing training and development opportunities, and work-life balance. Those are the 3 pillars that I would say that would help with productivity.
I know for us at Atlas Marketing, one of our core values is that work-life balance.
That's critical.
Recognizing that is an extremely important element, because in the advertising industry, there's always this very much like construction, very much a stigma of you're going to work 80 to 90 hours a week.
Right.
And we like to think that we're working smarter than just plugging away. So that's a big, big element. And I know a lot of contractors, a lot of clients of ours always are looking at what's that balance, because you're going to be working on a project, especially in construction, where you might be on that project for 2 years.
Right. Right.
And when a project is done, that's when that work-life balance starts to come into play versus, well, let's have it the whole time. I've heard folks talk about that. So that I think that's great advice and great guidance there.
Well, thank you. Yeah. It's important when you think about, I've come from a corporate background. I've worked with federal space and been an entrepreneur. And one of the things that I found across all of those platforms is you have to have a work-life balance, because you can be completely out of balance and that will affect your health. It will affect the way you engage with your other coworkers. It'll affect the way you engage with your family members. So just got to really make that like priority, I think.
Yeah, so true. Well, Edna, what would you say to a company that comes to you or a manager that comes to you and I really need to work on my team's mental health and wellness? Like, where would you start? Like, what advice could you give them?
On the mental health and wellness?
Yeah.
Well, I would say that to improve the mental health and wellness, you really want to start with increasing the possibility of what that will look like. First and foremost, why is it important to really invest in wellness for your people? And you want to invest in wellness because of the increase in productivity. It can increase your productivity as an employer. Employees who are healthy and happy have more productivity, which translates into higher profits for the company, which then the employees are physically and mentally healthy, and they are more engaged in their work and more likely to go the extra mile and achieve their goals. I know that I would as an employee. Also, you want to be able to invest because it reduces calling out from work. Employees who are not feeling good or feeling like they are sick and they don't want to come to work, then you're going to have a lot of employees calling in. So if you invest in them, that reduces the call outs from work. And then also improving employees' retention. You improve the retention rate. Invest in employees' wellness shows that companies value their employees, which can lead to increased loyalty and reduced turnover rates. So that's critical for companies. And then the lower healthcare costs. There's a lower healthcare cost involved when you really invest in your employees. Companies that invest, I say their employees in a wellness program can help them prevent illness and injuries. And it can also lead to lower healthcare costs over time. And then lastly, really enhance company image. The companies that invest in their employees' wellness are seen as more socially responsible and have more attractive job seekers. So that's kind of the core of where I would say start. You're looking at investing in an employee wellness program for your employees.
Nice.
Well
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. Tons of great advice and great stories to share and great methods to help in various arenas, mental health and stress and everything. But how is Edna Howard and how is Voices of Encouragement? How are you delivering these services? Is it like webinar, consulting with companies, or?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, we're into workforce development. So part of that is stress management and wellness. And so we're always looking at ways to deliver, in a way could help the employee. Sometimes, COVID, when we were in the middle of COVID, we were delivering these stress management courses and wellness courses and mindfulness courses online. The content can be distributed across kind of a face-to-face now, warm fuzzy in a conference room, and exercises that involve breathing techniques. Sometimes we do a little bit of chair yoga, teaching that. So we deliver it both ways. We can deliver it either virtually, we can deliver it face-to-face. And then that third way is hybrid, where a lot of companies now I'm seeing that they're doing a hybrid where they have some people call in online and they want you to be like in the space with actual people as well. So, and that part of that reducing stress in the workplace too, we want to consistently, stay in a place of helping reduce stress. And what that means is offering these workshops so that they're in a webinar format when they are in a webinar format, having kind of a series that it builds up on each other. So you don't just get a one and done, but you get a series of workshops that kind of come in a package.
Nice.
Yeah. If an employer is seeking also too, if they say to me, well, we're not sure what we need, then I'll come in and do an assessment first. And then we find out what that would look like in terms of what the workshops would look like. And sometimes it could really boil down to mindset reset. And what that means is there's three powerful principles around it. When you start to think about thought management, it could even boil down to how are you thinking about wellness? And then if you aren't thinking about wellness, how can we get you to think about it? And then the other piece of that is emotional intelligence and self-awareness. So we teach all of that.
Nice.
So cool.
I like that.
Chris.
I like that. I have to admit, I've never heard those two words together, mindset reset.
Setting your mind.
I
Yeah.
think that's key. I think that's a really good way to set that up, because I could imagine going into your training program, if I hear the mindset reset exercise or meeting, right off the bat, I'm in a whole different place.
Right. What does that
versus-
even look like?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of challenging myself to be like, okay, what does that mean? How do I prepare for this? So that I would imagine going into that, I am more in, and I think you said it earlier, I'm more of a receptive space for
Right.
what's coming out. So yeah, I like those two words together. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
And the good thing about that is I wrote a book about it. So I'm an inspirational author. So it's called Mindset Reset, and it's the three powerful principles to transforming your thinking. I don't know if you guys can see that or not.
We see it.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, and I used everything that helped me become strong in mindset, emotional intelligence, and self-awareness. And I put it in the book. And it also has a workbook at the end of each chapter. So I actually use the book as a model when I go in
Nice.
and teach the actual course, because we talk about thought management, perspective, attitude, and choices.
Can you say that again?
It's thought management is the first, because that's the prerequisite for anything you do.
Right.
Thought management, perspective, attitude, and choice.
I'm going to check the book out.
I am
Well,
too.
Yeah,
if I
check
get,
us
if I
out.
order one, can I get an autographed copy?
Absolutely. Just have to
Okay.
order it off my website.
Got it. Okay,
If you
yeah.
order from Amazon, I can't sign it. But if you order it on a website, I
Just
can
tell
absolutely
Jeff.
sign it.
Just tell Jack we need to sign it first before he ships it.
But yeah, very excited about that. The book has helped a lot. I do a lot of speaking engagements with Rotary clubs and other organizations that really want to help their employees be more productive or think a different way, shift their thinking. And just going in to teach that course. And like I said, watching the light bulb moments, or folks realize, oh, okay, so it's either fixed mindset or growth mindset. And a lot of
Mhm.
times you don't even know you're in a fixed mindset until you understand what that is.
That's a good point. So, of the companies that you work with, like what's typical size that you are working with? Like a 5-person firm or 30-person firm,
Mhm.
100? Help our listeners understand what Edna is doing.
Okay, what that looks like. Well, it
Yeah.
varies. I've gone in with a company small as 10 and as large as 200, right? It just
Okay.
depends on what the company's needs are. And I think when I did a positive mental attitude workshop for women in tech, and that was about over 200 women, and that was online. And what they asked me to do was basically teach out of my book, which is positive mental attitude. I have a whole workshop around that, and how to get one and how to acquire one and how to stay in one and maintain a positive mental attitude, because of so much that has happened over the course of the last couple of years with COVID and just everything in general. Some people have acquired a negative attitude or they don't even realize it. So
Right.
a lot of companies seek that, but the larger companies are seeking like that across the board. What could that look like to help employees? And what would resonate with most employees? Positive mental attitude. What does that look like? But I'm looking to work with larger companies as well. So because anything, you can deliver anything. Again, it's
Yeah.
custom building that workshop around what the needs are of the employees, because I'm all about the needs of the employees, because you can come in to deliver something and it go right over the head, or they don't even really absorb it. It doesn't resonate with them. So you have to be very strategic in the sense of what it is you deliver to your employees. Is it even what they want, what they need? And the way you do that is you put an assessment and a survey out to find out what the needs are, and then you meet the needs.
Very cool. It's kind of amazing to me. It's this day and age with employee wellness and a lot of companies and a lot of listeners are like, oh, do more in this, do more, do more. When you think back, 5, 10, 20 years ago, it was if you went and said, I'm stressed out, I need a mindset reset. I need people to meet me where I am. The response you get from your superintendent is, you need a mindset reset, go hang that drywall or go.
Right.
This will get your mind off your issues. This will get your mind off stress,
Yeah, that's funny. But now
Work hard
now
if
it's
you're
all
stressed
about-
out. You'll be
Everybody's
fine.
all about that. What can we do to help our employees? What can we offer them? I think when I think about even with employers and how we look at activities that companies can really help to reduce stress in the workplace, they want to look at promoting work-life balance first. I said that already, but I want to reiterate that because it's important to encourage that with employees so they can set reasonable work hours or at least provide flexibility to accommodate them, right? And you want to have them create a positive work environment that fosters really a positive and supportive work culture. So in a culture in a workplace, you feel like you can have those conversations with your supervisor or manager, and you can keep a good employee, someone who might be stressed out and they might be burnt out now. And I've experienced burnout, so I know what that feels like, but I didn't know I was experiencing it until I left a role and realized I needed to pivot because the role was no longer serving me. But the burnout came after I read about it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the way I was feeling. That's the way I was feeling. So sometimes you're in it and you don't even realize it. So you kind of need to take a step back. And so that's providing resources for stress management. So you understand if you're feeling these things or if you experience these symptoms, you may be experiencing stress or burnout and you don't even realize it. You just keep going, going, going. So having companies provide resources for stress management is important. Then also, I want to say you really want to prioritize that communication because that is so key. Clear communication is all about job expectation and changes in the workplace. And none of us like change, but change is inevitable. Growth is optional. So change management is important within the workforce, and then offering flexibility to our employees so we can provide opportunities for flexibility and work arrangements such as telecommuting. I telecommute. Flexible schedules accommodate employee needs, reduce stress associated with commuting and work-life balance. Now, I know in construction, you can't really telecommute, but you can have associated to your commuting work-life balance, again, focusing on that. And then managing the workloads. You want to be able to help manage the workloads, ensure that the workloads are reasonable. Employees are not overloaded with work because they will become burnt out and stressed. And then encourage breaks and exercise. I always say, because I'm practicing yoga now, and I may sound woo-woo, chair yoga is great. And it's really just stretches. So if anyone sits a lot or if they stand a lot, you have to have a way to kind of stretch out. So encouraging breaks and exercise is good too for stress management.
I'm a big fan of stretching. Every day I get out of bed like, oh,
Or something.
yeah, something.
Get a
something.
twist or
Help me,
something.
please.
So it just helps. I mean, overall, when you think about what's happening right now in the world, you hear a lot of health and well-being. I mean, that's all I've been hearing about. A lot of people are changing industries so they can get in the well-being industry, so they can help people.
Yeah.
And so I feel like part of what we're doing with being able to offer stress management courses and well-being and, even the mindset reset course for thought management perspective, it's helping people shift their perspective and shift their thinking around what that could feel like and what wellness looks like.
Well, if anyone was on the fence about buying the book or not after that, shifting the mindset and helping the wellness area, I'm sold now. So
So
let's do this.
Well, good. I'm glad I could sell you on that, but it really is something that we need to
Yes.
consider, right? It's
Absolutely.
something
what?
and I don't
Edna,
think I've always been that way because I've been a workaholic. I've done all of that, but I think through experience and understanding what's the best way to live life, because you got to integrate your life. You can't just work all the time, right? Work, go home, work, go home. And some people do that, but you got to experience life. You can't just allow it to be so fleeting. So learning how to integrate and enjoy the world around you. And sometimes too, and I left this out, and I shouldn't have left this out because I do this now. My commute used to be into the city every day or a couple of times a week on GW Parkway, which is bumper to bumper traffic. It's 2-hour commute both ways. My commute now is down on the Potomac River in the morning at 7:30, taking a walk.
Nice.
So
Good for you.
there's just some lifestyle changes that had to occur.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I think that's a great point to kind of say thank you, Edna. I can just imagine now walking along the Potomac would be a very great way to start the day, especially on a nice summer day in DC, because that's a
Yeah.
beautiful area.
Absolutely.
But thank you, Edna, for joining us. I think you shared with our listeners some fantastic information, and we'll definitely be posting a link to your website in
Awesome.
the review, and encouraging folks to check out your book, Mindset Reset. And
Wonderful.
again, thank you so much for joining and sharing this information. It's going to be helpful, and just as long as we can help somebody in the industry to have a better day, then we're all doing our job. So that's a good thing.
Well, thank you for having me. I enjoyed the conversation. I appreciate you having me on the show. Thank you again.
Take care.
Thank you for joining the Building PA podcast. To stay up to date, follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook, and visit buildingpapodcast.com to subscribe to upcoming shows. Thanks for listening.